Hi everybody, welcome. This is a bit off script from my usual weekly videos, but I'm coming to you today with a very special guest. This is Eli, also known as the Everyman, and he is the founder, host, organizer of the amazing Shine seminars here in the UK, and I feel very blessed and privileged to have asked to be a part of the Shine seminars this coming summer. So just wanted to take this opportunity to introduce Eli to you, who has an absolute plethora of knowledge and understanding and wisdom into different things, and the people that have come along to these events in the past to speak and share their wisdom is just absolutely so awe-inspiring. So over to you. What would you like to tell us about the Shine seminars?
Well, thanks for having me on, Kelly Marie. I really am so grateful for you spending some time with me. It's much appreciated. I love your work. I've just ordered my moon diary. In fact, I've actually got them, and I bought two for friends. So I just wanted to say that I love your work and thank you for your service. It's beautiful. Yeah, well, the Shine seminars came out of adversity, funnily enough. In 2021 September, when we were still in lockdown, and I just wanted to have a day for us and not have any tyrannical stories, any media um, kind of infiltration of our minds. I didn't, I felt that we'd had enough, and I wanted to put on an event where we could just celebrate who we were and talk about just beautiful things, talk about nature, talk about health and well-being, talk about spiritual practice, and talk about sovereignty and finding power within ourselves. And so I put the first one on, and it was amazingly successful, considering we hadn't sold a ticket 10 days before. We had 55 people, and all those people who came, I still know a lot of them. And we had just had a lovely day where we just talked about, we had 5 speakers. We had Clive de Cole, who does nutrition and well-being. He does self-healing. We have the Bards of Avalon, who do sound work. They do blessing of the water as well, water consciousness. Michael Tingle, who does Qigong, but he also does beautiful Gaelic symbol artwork. He runs workshops doing that. Yeah, freehand, amazing. And we had David Aderman, who's the people's lawyer, and he wrote a book called Schools No Place for Children, which is basically talking about the way that the school system is set up. And we also had Carly Spell, who talks about the etymology of legalese, which is how the constructs of the legal system is there to keep us in a very tight box. So it was just a fascinating day. And since then, I think we've done 16 altogether. We've done a shed load. And last summer we did a 3-day event, and I think we had 60 speakers, something like that. And I've got to know a lot of amazing people over the years. And this year we've got 48 speakers. It's over 4 days. And I mean, obviously I'm here to talk about the Shine seminars in the summer, but the people who have come to me, it's very much a magnetism thing. It's organically grown, and all I've done is put the call out to people, and they've either resonated or they haven't. I've had nobody say no. I've had a couple of people who logistically can't do it. And I'm just very grateful because the 48 speakers we've got are incredible. And we're all coming together as a community. And I feel very blessed that I'm able to just hold space for that. And to have you coming along is fantastic. My own journey with the chrism oil and the sacred secretion is I have my own journey with that, which probably we won't talk about today, maybe another time. But we've also got Summer Connor who's coming, who is also very involved in your work and watches you a lot. And she's on a new journey. She's very new to the journey, which is great that she's coming. And we've also got Mark Keane, who, quote unquote, is the king of Kundalini. I don't know whether you know Mark.
I'm familiar with his work, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I met Mark on that site 2 years ago because we rent the site. It's a big festival site.
Right.
Yeah, we rent it. And beforehand, there's a Sundara festival, which is like an ashram.
Mhm.
So there's lots of Krishna consciousness, lots of drumming, lots of chanting, kirtan, things like that. And so it's very charged. The atmosphere when we get there, the land is charged, and we come on and we do our thing, and we step into that space. But I met Mark there 2 years ago, and it's great. Sundara, what they do is there's loads of healers come, loads of kind of holistic practitioners, and then in the morning everybody gets together in the middle of the field, like 200 people, and then you know somebody will stand up and say, oh, I'm going to do some kinesiology, oh, I'm going to do some Reiki, I'm going to talk about plant wisdom, I'm going to do some chanting, and then everybody's like, oh, that sounds good, oh, I might, and then they'll all kind of choose what they want to do. It's a really lovely way of doing it. And Mark stood up and he started talking about what he was doing, and I was just like, wow, I'm going to be with you. I'm going to come and see you. And I met him, and he's an amazing guy. He's a beautiful guy. So, we've got my thing at the moment is getting back to nature and actually connecting with the wisdom of plants, wisdom with the earth, being in holding sacred space for the natural abundance of the divine blueprint.
Mm.
I mean, we can see it all the time. Dr. Emoto's done his water consciousness work with the frequencies and the beautiful mandalas that come out, but also we can see it. We can see the divine blueprint in everything, and that's part of the journey that the Shine Seminars is on. Is kind of opening up conversations for people to step into and be inspired and exposed to as well, just putting people in front of information. Oh, the power of the dandelion. Well, my attitude has totally changed to the dandelion since I heard Juliet talk about it. So
Yeah.
now when I go out, I don't cut my dandelions in spring anymore, because she told me that, one, it's one of the very first flowers to come out, and two, it's super important for the bees.
Mm.
And she also told me that you can eat every single plant of the dandelion, every single part of the dandelion. So it's
Tortoises live for hundreds of years and their favorite food is the dandelion. I can always remember my nan saying that to me when I was a little girl, because she used to make a lot of dandelion tea,
yeah,
like in the 80s.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
So
love little sunshine flowers.
yeah, they're just beautiful. And so that sort of innate connection to nature and to ourselves is what we're really all about. We do a little bit of disclosure. We do talk about some of the systems, but it's percentage wise, it's tiny. I
Mm.
feel that there's two kind of narratives at the moment. There's being the light and showing the way and being yourself and embodying what you do, which is why I find your work so inspirational, because you're embodying what you do. And then there's also casting the light on some of the systems of control that we're experiencing and have experienced for a long, long time. So it's a
Mm.
dual aspect. And if you shine your light very, very brightly, your light does cast onto the dark, and
Mm.
it does show up the systems for what they are. And that's the way forward, just
Mm.
to be able to say, this is who I am. I'm in my divine nature. I'm doing my thing. And as you go along, things kind of fall by the wayside, and you get to kind of see things that you don't necessarily want to see. There is a bit of a dark night of the soul going on, a collective dark night of the soul. So yeah, the shine is a beautiful thing, and I'm just holding space for it. It just, it just magically appears. It magically happens, and
That's
last year,
incredible.
the atmosphere was electric, Kelly Marie. It was just absolutely electric. The conversations, around the campfire, in the queue for the water, and the dishwashing station, just people. I was walking past people and they were talking about, vocal empowerment and
Yeah.
432, 528 hertz frequency singing and all this mind-blowing stuff just as an everyday conversation. So, you know, I'm really looking forward to it.
I have to say that, like, since subscribing to your YouTube channel and watching the individual stories and individual offerings of the speakers that you have coming, and have had, you know, reoccurring through past events as well, and the way that this has, like, you know, just grown so exponentially in such a short space of time is, you know, just so profound and such an amazing testament to that light growing. And I am a big advocate, you know, for shining and exposing and letting you know, the adverse, or, you know, the kind of shadows, like, dissolve through the shining, rather than through, you know, focusing and letting ourselves sometimes become absorbed in that. I mean, there is a space for that as well, of course, but I do think for the most part that it's, the awakening is so uncontrollable and so apparent that, you know, it's just happening anyway. So I do think that, you know, anyone who's watching this as well, to subscribe to Eli and to watch some of those testimonies and the different scope of things that are being covered here is really, really cool. So I'll put that link, as well as the link to the Shine seminars, in the description box below. And I also wanted to ask you about specifically, you know, like, your kind of story. I know we don't have much time here, but just to give people a taste into, you know, your kind of own awakening and how that you know, has kind of like been a catalyst for everything that you're doing in terms of shining your individual light. And, you know, the fact that this is all happening in the UK, like, is really cool as well, because we're kind of a small country, but this is like a massive event, and it's really inspiring.
Well, thank you. There's a whole load of paths we can go down, but I want to start with Glastonbury. I really
Okay.
do. You know, it's said that it's the heart chakra of the world, and clearly that is the case. Just to let your audience know, there is a deep connection with a planetary grid, and our local place in the UK is Glastonbury, and the Michael and Mary lines, which are the most famous ley lines in the world, pretty much, obviously run across from Cornwall through and up into Norfolk, through Glastonbury and through Wells Cathedral, and up into Avebury. But Glastonbury is really important for me because my grandma, who was called Olwyn, which is an ancient Gaelic name, she's one of the main protagonists in the Welsh Gaelic myth of the Mabinogion, which, yeah, and she was a Christian. She was in the Women's Fellowship, a very quiet, very gentle lady. She was a dinner lady for 40 years. Very private in terms of her relationship with Christ. But she used to go on a pilgrimage to Glastonbury every year. And she went for like 45 years in a row, like every year. And a couple of years ago, I did some shamanic training in Glastonbury, which is really where you just go inside and you connect with parts of you that you were not connected to before. That's all that really means. And I came away realizing that I have a lineage that goes way back. I connected to my ancestors through the land of Glastonbury.
Wow.
Yeah. And I came away and I didn't eat for a week because I didn't need to. I was completely charged. I was just like, wow, this is unbelievable. And I think for your audience, just as a little bit of a revealing, the new earth, as some people are calling it, the new way of being, the new paradigm, the age of Aquarius that we're moving into, the southwest of England has a very, very important part to play in that, because of our DNA and because of who we are. And I'm not saying there are not other amazing things going on elsewhere, because there is. It's a huge humanity. The frequency of the planet is moving up, and everybody's moving up with it. And as it moves up, the darkness cannot exist anymore. So that's what's happening, you know. But my focus has been to try and create community and connect as many people within that sacred union of a divine connection within the Southwest. So that's kind of been my role. And it is based, I live in Bristol, but it is based around Glastonbury. It is based around that notion that Glastonbury is on the planetary grid. And funnily enough, I'll just let you know this. This is interesting. Someone has actually, unfortunately, had to pull out from the seminars in the summer, and I'm going to be talking. And my audience does say to me, "Why do you never talk, Eli?" And I'm like, "But I want to give other people the platform to talk, because they're the ones with the leading edge thought." And lots of people have said, "No, we want you to talk." So actually, and I'm saying it publicly now, I'm actually going to be talking. And I think I'm going on first on the Monday. I don't know who I'm kind of with either side of me, because we've got three, we've got a lot of speakers. We've got 48 speakers. We've got three main tents. But I'm going to talk, and I think I'm going to talk about ascension and the light. I think that's what I'm going to talk about. But I only found out a few days ago that I've got this space, and I'm like, oh, okay. Well, who's going to do that? Oh, yeah, that'll be me. So I'm looking forward to it. And in terms of my awakening, it goes over a period. I've known that there's something otherworldly, and I think everybody has that. I think people who have divine connection, they either are aware of it and they do something about it, or they're aware of it and they don't do something about it. I was really, in my teenage years, I was in a household that was, we didn't have much money, but my father did his degree as I was like sort of 10, 11, 12, and he did creative writing. And so I was surrounded by all these amazing mythological books, Carl Gustav Jung and Joseph Campbell and Joyce and T.S. Eliot. So I grew up in that world. My father was a principal of an art college. And when I went to university, I did a drama degree. And when you do drama, you just learn storytelling. It's not complex, as you know, because you've been on the telly. As a drama student, I went to Winchester. You just learn how to tell stories, and you learn the mythologies, and you learn the archetypes, and and it just opens up humanity in such an amazing way once you do that. And for one of my projects, I went to live with the Krishnas for a while in Bagdavagita Manor.
And this is George Harrison's.
Yeah.
This
was like 1990
testimonies a while ago, and it's so like he was, just on a side note, like check out George Harrison's like testimonies on the Kundalini, because they are very compelling to listen to as well.
Wow, I never knew that. I didn't know that. But George was he was the light in the Beatles, no doubt. I mean, we can talk about Mark Devlin will talk about the Beatles. But I've always resonated with George, and I went to Bagdavagita Manor, which is in Buckinghamshire, and I was there, and you learn that life can be simple and beautiful, and all the 3D distractions in the material world is actually it's all distraction and all illusion, and it's not authentic and it's not heartfelt. And when you live in a community that concentrate on nurturing food, nurturing nature, looking after the land, preparing food in a conscious way, blessing food, eating food communally. Food is an enormous thing in the Krishna world. And all you really do is meditate and eat. It's just, and I came out of that, and all through the 90s, I just went into this kind of I would say I was in a trance. I was in a bit of a trance. And then I kind of discovered the nefarious sort of elements to life in the late 90s. And then I went on this huge journey of who are we as a species? Who are we? We don't know. And I was just like, why don't we know who we are? And I spent 10 years nearly just researching like a crazy man. My wife was a testimony to that. I had roles, there's that meme. I don't know if you've ever seen that meme with the guy who's doing all the finger pointing and he's like,
Yeah.
there's this dot, that. Well, that was me for 10 years. And it just wore me out. But I did get into things like, the Sumerian cultures, Mayan cultures, the Yoruba culture in Africa. I looked more at the story of Yeshua, and his brother Thomas, and the connections between Egypt, and the parallels with Horus and Isis and all that sort of stuff. So I got into those subjects, and then in 2010 when my son was born, I just went, I'm not doing any of that, and I just did my job for 10 years, and then suddenly during COVID it was just like, oh, well, there's something going on here that's not right. I knew it was coming, but I just didn't admit it. And then I just got really activated, and I thought, this is our time, and we will stand up, and we will show it. It's a difficult subject to talk about because people will say, "Oh, he's full of ego" or whatever. But there is a divine connection which drives you forward, and it's not
Absolutely.
you. It's out. It exists outside of you. I feel. And you are called to do the work. You're called to service, and so I'm in service, and that's all I do. I'm just in service. um so that's kind of a little snapshot.
It's like, in the sacred secretion or in the great regeneration, we talk about the mitosis of cells and the regeneration and renewal, like from the inside out, and the releasing of the old cells, and the upgrading of DNA and light codes. And it's very much the same. The way I see it on the macrocosm is that the earth is in a mitosis also. It's like continually dividing and releasing and expanding and evolving and becoming energetically more harmonious as we go through this cycle that we're in, which is so cool because, like you said, we don't have the final say in the matter. It's just part of what we're experiencing, and if we keep focusing on what's good and what's great, and what if everything went well, what if everything became more beautiful, rather than what if impending doom happens, what if all those box things over there, which are interesting and compelling at times, but really focusing on the positive what ifs is a really powerful kind of meditative tool to keep us in those high vibrations and keep that hemisyncing going and all those beautiful biochemicals of bliss just like popping off. And I feel like whenever you talk about the Shine seminars, it's like when you walk into one of those atmospheres and it immediately boosts your own magnetic field because everyone else around you is blaring as well, and it's just like this incredible like collective consciousness of love and expansion, and what a place to be. So I urge everybody to click on the website link, to take a look at Eli's YouTube channel, his own stories, and the guests that he's held space for over the years, and for this coming event as well. And if you're available and you want to come along, then please do so. Thanks.
Thanks,
Oh,
Kelly.
any last thoughts before
what I would say is I'll just tell you it's August the 2nd to the 5th. August 2nd to the 5th. It's in the Forest of Dean. It's very easy to get to. There's camping on site. There's loads of car parking. You can buy food or not buy food, but all our food is locally sourced, organic, and it is actually vegan, I think, as well. And what I'm going to do, if it's okay with you, is I'm going to give your audience a 10% discount code, and if they want to come along, then if they put the code in to the booking form, they'll get a 10% discount. And
Okay.
actually, we're still on super early bird prices up until the end of April anyway. But it'd be
I-
great to have.
yeah, super reasonable anyway. Like,
Yeah, it is. It,
yeah,
it really is. I mean, it's non for profit, and last year we kind of, as the traders say, as the antique dealers, we wiped our nose. It was we just about kind of broke even. This year we've got amazing entertainment. We've got a Kaylee on the Friday. The Saturday we've got Perpetual Choirs. The Sunday
wow,
we've got Mobius Loop, who are a really big festival band, and we've
yeah,
got Carrie Tree, who is the most wonderful kind of Irish singer-songwriter, who is she's just amazing. So the entertainment is like off
yes.
the chart. I'm so grateful to those people. So yeah, I'll give your audience that code, and hopefully some people can come along and experience what we're doing. I thank you
Amazing.
for letting me be on your show.
No, thank you for organising and yeah, for being with us today. Sounds like just a full-on treat for all the levels of, body, mind, soul, and spirit. So yeah, thanks again, Eli.
Thanks
Yeah.
again, Kelly Marie.